Death of a soda tax. The Great Chicago Soda Tax, and it's called soda. By the way, it's not pop and it's not Coke.
I said soda. I grew up
Okay.
saying soda.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
That is Coke.
Yeah.
All of it's Coke.
The Great Chicago Soda Tax of 2017 is as dead as the 8-track. And for those WeWork hipsters that don't know what an 8-track is, I'm sure you will when you get bored of cassettes, but it was a stunning turnaround in less than 6 months. Chicagoans are free again to drown their sorrows on the latest alleged zero sugary drink from Coke without the undue burden of a penny per ounce tax. You paid 12 cents for that in tax.
I did not, because this is contraband. Yeah.
Oh, did you get it from the American Crossroads?
I got this in Wisconsin.
Oh, helping your people.
Yeah.
Was this a proxy defeat for Michael Bloomberg's administrative nanny state and his chances for running for president in 2020?
You want me to jump in on this one?
Please.
I would like to see something.
Oh, good luck. So I consider this a lot. I think that given...
By a lot, do you mean like 3 minutes?
No, I was up early this morning considering, okay?
Okay.
I considered for a clean 10, probably. So, obviously, where this is the most hurtful is in what I like to call the flyover states. Or, more likely, it's the, maybe let's just take the escalator states. And that's going to be the Midwest, right? Where, you got these East Coast, liberal elites coming over to the Midwest and saying, you need to lose weight, so we're going to charge you extra taxes. And that's ridiculous. I think if he wants to win, he's going to have to speak to the people of Middle America. And calling us all fat, that's not going to do it, So I would say that while he can probably get the liberal elites on the West Coast and East Coast to vote for him, I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to need to work a little magic in the middle of America.
So you're saying the Midwest is still going to be Trump country?
I think the Midwest is going to be, unfortunately.
Yeah. You said a lot there. But I'm going to shoot some torpedoes at you guys right here. Number one.
Like as North Korea, because then I'm fine.
No, as America, rate of fire.
Ah, got it, okay.
Number one, I don't think he's running in 2020. So I don't think this hurts any chances, because there are no chances that he's running in 2020. Number two, I really don't understand, and I wish we had a New Yorker around to talk about soda taxes and nanny state in New York City, but I really don't understand what this guy's problem is. And this guy, Bloomberg, with charging the soda tax, right? Because this whole craze started in New York, taxing a cent per ounce on sugary drinks, so there when you're a big gulp. So I don't think this is a defeat for him, but I don't understand what the issue here is. There might be a health benefit, there might be some health concerns. Maybe the medical system in New York works different, or the government works different. But what happened here, this was a defeat for an overtaxed population of the state of Illinois. That's what this was. And it wasn't, I'm sure, if I told you guys, hey, would you give 12 cents and this money goes to health care? Reasonable people would probably say, hey, that sounds reasonable. I'll give 12 cents to health care. That money went to a general fund that the Cook County people, the commissioners, did whatever they wanted to.
Wind them up.
This is basically what they were doing. They're like, oh yeah, this is going to go to help people lose weight and all that, but we need X amount of money from this tax. So let me get. I'm no policy expert. I'm doing an MBA from Booth. I have a degree from the School of Life, and I would like to understand if you have a tax that's supposed to make people consume less of a product because it's unhealthy, but you're telling me you need X amount of dollars from that. What's going to happen? I'm not in Excel, some number's going to have to go up. And that tells me the price per ounce is going to have to go up. So if this was really for health care, they failed. I believe it wasn't. This was another cash grab by Cook County and Crook County, if you will, to just fill up the coffers and, we got to give money somewhere. We got to patch a hole. What can we tax?
Yeah. Well, you may have I don't know that you necessarily have a degree in the School of Life. Maybe you have like an associate's degree
from the
School of Life. Because
participation.
You went to 3 or 4 classes.
Yeah.
I have to say that I agree with what you said. Unfortunately, you didn't really speak to the question at all. You decided
I think I did.
No, you started to attack Cook County as opposed to the actual question regarding.
No, I think my first statement was this was not a chance.
Well, yeah, but then
Bloomberg.
that's the end of it. You just spent a ton of time conspiracy theorizing.
Well, I gotta actually add to the question.
Is this going to be your freedom of information request?
No.
Identifying where that money was going to go to?
I know where the money went to. Unions. Do some research, and you would understand there was like renegotiation. I think the sheriff department, and I forgot what the department was. May have been like some Cook County nurses. There was some magical renegotiation 6 months ago that when the unions were due for a pay raise right around the time this tax was enacted. So I know where the money went. Right, like a vacuum. That giant sucking sound. It wasn't a straw. It wasn't soda going through a straw. It was the money going to the unions. It wasn't one of those magical straws you had when you were a kid, you know.
All right, okay.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point that I hadn't considered until you brought it up. The Freedom of Information Act request we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
City of Chicago has that. We know that the state has it and the feds have it. Does Cook County have it?
I'm
Because
sure
that's
they do,
different than
I'm sure
the
the
City
county,
of Chicago.
I'm sure the county has it.
We might have to unleash our interns
We
on
can work on that.
Cook County.
Yeah.
Okay, my opinion, it's not a fatal defeat for Bloomberg. However, I don't think he runs. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It might embolden him to push from the federal level, but that would be
That'd be a disaster.
Yeah, that'd be a total disaster. It won't happen. Nothing.
That's not going to happen.
But the interesting part, I would say, is that, and I read this as an article, so I won't take credit for it. It was in Crane Chicago Business, something that we work hipsters don't read.
Yeah.
And
that you have a subscription to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Businessman.
You should get a subscription. It's only $5 a month to get a digital subscription.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, I have it. Highly recommend it.
Oh, but he doesn't pay for stuff, remember?
Oh, that's true.
I do pay for lots of things. Pay for pizza. Pay for burritos.
Okay. Anyway, but there's a great article on this topic because they said that the reason this failed, the reason that the soda tax failed, was because it went. Most of the taxes that have passed, like cigarette tax and alcohol tax, all those sin taxes, it's usually 15 to 20 to 25% of the population that really cares. And so they care and they push back against it, but there's 75% that go, don't really care. Soda tax was the exact opposite. It's 75% that cared, the people like you that go to America's Crossroads to avoid the tax, and the rest of us that actually had a Pepsi today, the choice of a new generation. And so there were so many people that actually cared about this that's why the noise level was so high that the commissioners had to give up and kick it out.
Well,
so
I mean, commissioners flip-flopped on it. But,
yeah.
I mean, I think they cast such a wide net on what's a sugary drink, right? This doesn't contain sugar, and this was under the tax. So
it should. It's carcinogenic.
So I think they just cast. I mean, on day one there was confusion on Walgreens. What was taxed and not taxed? That should tell you how great thought out this policy was.
Okay, so let's take the closing question here, which is: are you in favor of the City of Chicago taxing Uber and Lyft to pay for CTA improvements? All right, so basically, the City of Chicago is it has doubled the tax on those services, which have gone from, I think, 8 million to 18 million to 51 million this year in terms of the revenue generated by those. And now the City of Chicago wants to double it, and they say that it's because the ridership of the CTA is dropping, and therefore they need the money in order to pay for CTA improvements. So are you in favor of the City of Chicago doubling the tax on Uber and Lyft in order to pay for CTA improvements?
It's not doubling it.
It's doubling. It's 55 and it's going to go to $1.
No, it's going to
52.
be 72 cents next year, and then they're going to increase it after that, and it'll go up to I think maybe about $1.
Yeah, so it's going to double.
In 2 years, but next year it's only going to be 10 or 20 cents more.
At least 20. Okay.
It's a lawyer here, Samantha.
Well, I'm just saying, let's not.
Do you know what the definition of the word is?
Enough that I can get by.
Got a cigar?
Jeez.
Your turn.
19. So I think absolutely let's do it. Let's rock and roll on this thing. Number one, at best, it's a luxury tax because those are, luxury things. I mean, not everyone has the option to use them. And at worst, it's a laziness tax, right? So, I mean, ultimately, I completely agree. There's two things that are going to happen. People are still going to continue to use Uber and Lyft, which is very, very likely. we're going to see an increase, and just based on some rough calculations, it could be between an additional $5 to $6 million just on these lifts, based on the fees from the revenue they earned, and then what this increase would lift. So that's a pretty substantial amount. If people don't use Lyft and Uber, they're going to start taking CTA again. So either we're going to be able to start generating revenue from the fees, or we're going to start generating revenue from additional ridership on the public transportation. But it is a key piece. I mean, we need it. We need to optimize it. So,
Nanny state.
Yeah, it's interesting that you call it a luxury and laziness tax. When does this line stop? When are you going to say enough is enough? Because I think that's my issue.
Taxed enough already.
Yeah.
When are you going to be a tea party, a tea bagger?
So your argument is, hey, we need to get the money in there somewhere to fix the CTA, right? Improve the quality of service. I'm against the tax, and not because of, I'm a tax enough already or this kind of stuff. I just don't think taxing this ridership and then saying that money's going to go to the CTA, is that written in the law somewhere that they can't take these funds? It's just in a lockbox, if you will, that this money can only be used in the CTA.
I agree.
I think the answer. Let me finish here before you agree with me. Number two. Aren't we taxed enough already?
Oh my
God. Great philosopher once said, "Don't let the government do something once that you don't want it to do it again." They try to tax us with the soda. That fell at the county level. Now they're coming after ridership, and they're doing it in a nice little way, as you guys were talking about. Like, it's a little bit now, a little bit later.
But it's been taxed at 52
cents. No,
I
understand. But they're saying, hey, we're going to keep increasing it here, and they're giving you a 2-year plan. Who knows it's going to be the mayor in 2 years? But you know what's going to happen? Well, we need to increase those taxes again. And the CTA is not going to get better because they, instead of taxing it and seeing, hey, let's put that money into the CTA, maybe they can actually work on better service. Maybe they start working. Forget the O'Hare Express. We don't need that. We don't need an O'Hare Express. We need something that connects these lines besides the red line, north and south. We need to get away from the central that everything belongs in the loop, and that's the only place you can transfer, to connect these rail lines somehow. We need better bus service. I like the bus link in the loop. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to ride those. Pretty nice. You get express service, if you will, and you can prepay before you get in the bus. Those are the kind of ideas we need to get Chicago moving. That's really what we need.
So you're in agreement with me that this tax is good because it's going to help?
No, I think this tax is bad. This is not going to help in any which way or form.
So how do you think they're going to pay for all the CTA stuff?
They're not, because they're not going to do anything. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're saying the money's going to get
funneled
somewhere else.
I understand, but I'm just saying,
some alderman's pocket.
Yeah, I
else
agree with you. I agree with the first part of that.
Which part?
The first part about regarding where the funds are going.
Yeah.
Because I agree, we would need complete transparency in that for me to feel comfortable for this.
But you said you want the tax because it's a lazy thing. So you already said without having transparency, yeah, I'm for the tax because it gets lazy.
I'm for the tax because of the effect that it could have on the CTA, especially the increasing.
So there's a key word there that I want to go back to. Could have.
Right.
So you're saying there may be a positive effect, there may be no effect, but you're hoping in your magical
Did you read
world.
The article?
Yeah.
So you do know that part of the reason we're doing this is because we want to try to make it so that we can bring new businesses to town. So I think even if you're talking, you're money grubbing aldermen, at the same time, doing this and actually building out our infrastructure is going to help them, and they're going to be able to make more money if we bring more.
How about we find a way to get How about we find a way to get rid of cars on the road? I don't know how many cars I see on the road that have the little Uber thing or the Lyft light. How many cars are just one person driving by themselves waiting to pick somebody up? That's my argument.
That is exactly where I want to go with my answer, which is basically I'm against the tax. I agree with you, though, that I think it's a good idea they put it in place. It should be partially funding. I mean, you shouldn't just have the Wild West like this guy's used to growing up in Cuba, and where anything goes, there's no rules. So we want some tax on that, I think, but I'm opposed to an increase in it because what I want to see is the iPhone jockey hipster generation, otherwise known as millennials, who are so used to just, pressing the button to get a car to their front door, get pissed off about all the cars on the road, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Because what they're then going to say is, I demand the government build more roads, wider roads, give me express lanes, I'm willing to pay for it. That'll never happen. And what'll happen is that'll swing back. The pendulum will swing back to public transit. When people are so pissed off at sitting in traffic and paying extra,
Terrible. Yeah.
right? I agree with you. I'd love to see that circle line or whatever they've called it, but I'm against it because I agree with him that I don't think the money will really go to where it needs to be. That's just a function of government, and unless people in this country or on this panel stand up and run for city council, nothing's ever going to change.
You got to be the change you want to be in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Batman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.